Welcome to the GameGrin GrinPressions for Dragon Ball no,
Start
Dragon
again.
Ball Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. It wasn't Dragon Ball Z, Xenoverse 2. Anyway, I'm your host, Ace. Joining me is Boote
Howdy.
and Gargontara,
Heyo.
who's already forgotten his push to talk button. Right, first off, did either of you play in the open beta that's happened this past weekend?
Yes.
Nope.
However, you do know about the game and various features that have been announced and such, don't you?
Yeah, I've been following all of the trailers and Japanese releases whenever I've been actually able to understand what the hell they're saying.
So at least you do know about the game going into it. Boot, what were your impressions playing it?
It's basically the first one, just with a bigger storyline and a lot of features, sort of like more fleshed out, I suppose you could say.
Right, yeah, I got the feeling of that too. It's Xenoverse Plus.
Yeah.
Xenoverse 2.
I mean, not so much, because they haven't even really done anything to the battle system. That's completely the same as the first one. All they've done is possibly extended the storylines and added in I think like 40 new characters.
Well, they've also added in the ability to become an Azuro, a Great Ape, and a Giant Namekian.
Oh yeah. They've added a few transformations. Yeah, true.
But I personally didn't get to experience any of those except from the AI kicking my ass side of things.
No, I didn't get to experience. I mean, the main problem being that for the weekend where, I would like to play video games, the servers died horribly, so I didn't actually get to do much playing. I got about an hour or two yesterday, so I didn't really get to some of the more extreme new stuff, unfortunately.
I got to mainly play, there were only a couple of main story missions. There was quite a number of online, I've forgotten the term already.
Parallel quests?
Parallel quests, yes. There were only 2 offline parallel quests that I encountered, but there were about a dozen online ones, which were quite varied, quite fun.
Yeah, again, I mean, parallel quests are exactly the same as the first game. I mean, the only new thing is that they have medals that is just another currency.
The TP medals.
Yeah. Instead of just having Zenny to buy things, you have TP medals that you can buy things with as well.
Yeah, those are awarded for like first play or something like that.
Yeah, which, I mean, trying to think of why you would have an extra one just now, I was thinking maybe you can actually buy TP medals with actual money, and that's their sort of microtransaction thing that every game has to have.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Which, I suppose, it is but I don't know, because I never found having had a lack of money in the first one. I was always having loads and loads of Zenny, because the main way you got outfits and moves was doing parallel quests. So you do parallel quests over and over and over and over and over again to get that one piece of armor, and then you just get loads of Zenny and then just spend it on like healing items or other costumes that you got from the shops. But maybe this time the shops will actually have all the decent costumes, and you can just buy all the decent costumes and be kitted out at level like 1 and win the game.
There were a number of costumes available with both Zenny and TP medals. I think the cheaper items were 1 TP medal, the more expensive were like 5 TP medals. But it didn't appear to be any extra items available just for TP medals.
Well, that's not too bad then, unless in the full-blown version, they just pump it full of uber shit that you can buy just with TP medals, and you can, just buy TP medals and just win your way through the game.
Yeah, that's a worry. I did wonder if they were going to bring characters out as TP items, but then they went and announced the first DLC pack already, which has Frost and someone else from Dragon Ball Super.
So I've not watched much. I've watched the 2 movies, but I've not watched much Super because I'm slightly waiting for it to be dubbed rather than subbed.
I'm completely up to date with Super, I must admit.
Well, I do keep seeing images of it on my YouTube recommended and on Instagram and stuff like that. So I have an idea of what's going on, but I don't know any of the specifics.
I'll be quite honest, I prefer the art style of the game to the art style of Super itself.
Yeah, that's one of the videos I've seen. It's top 10 worst art or animation pieces in Super, and some of the art and the animation looks quite terrible and quite rushed.
Yeah, they are updating it for the DVD and Blu-ray releases, but yeah, some of it is not great.
Which is the point, because you would think Super would be Dragon Ball Z with awesome animation, awesome art styles, but apparently it's not quite happened like that. It seems just a bit rushed.
Well, I believe that anime as an industry moved on to digital artwork several years ago, so that was after Dragon Ball Z had finished, which was all obviously all hand drawn. So the colours and the thick lines and little details, they're all missing because it's all done using computer art.
Yeah, I'm looking up because I decided to look up what the 2 characters were. I've got a picture of Frost, who just looks like a blue Frieza, and yeah, the colours look a bit muted, and it just looks a bit flat, to be honest with you.
Well, spoilers, Frost is basically another universe's version of Frieza.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about the whole, other universe, because you got the Black Goku thing as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's a very interesting plotline at the moment.
Is that all? I was going to say, is that all from Universe 6 now?
I don't want to say anything and spoil things for people wanting to watch the anime.
The Universe 6, is this sort of like DC Comics now? Has Dragon Ball become DC Comics, or just having multiple universes?
Yes, the Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super are set in Universe 7.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, they went the Marvel Comics route of, we don't want it to be like this is Universe number 1, so this is Universe 616. So out of the 12 universes, the one we know is Universe 7.
Okay, weird, but I suppose having the multiple universes kind of does tie in very well with the Xenoverse sort of time travel storyline.
Yeah.
I mean,
go on.
I was just gonna say I can see how you can fit it in, but as an anime, I'm interested to see how that goes. Actually, hopefully, I don't know if anyone's actually bought the rights to Super yet to do the dubbing.
Well, they've had the American voice actors in to voice Xenoverse 2. Incidentally, I hate Future Trunks' voice.
Yeah,
it's too gravelly.
Yeah, I've always thought that.
Them bringing the super characters in, then they must be at least working on getting a dub out.
You would hope so, yeah.
Well, from what I've heard, I believe Funimation is has the current rights for it, because there was the recent Crunchyroll and Funimation part. I don't think it was partnership, but I know it's basically them working together. So one does the subbing and one does the dubbing, and I believe Crunchyroll is currently bringing out the manga for Super, so the anime should be following suit.
Well, that's all right. Well, fair enough. But it doesn't seem to, I mean, I had a quick Google. It doesn't seem to be any actual release dates. But it does seem Funimation is the one to do it.
Well, they've had previous licenses for Dragon Ball, so it makes sense. But then, okay, so Dragon Ball Xenoverse is part of Super then. Does that, yeah, that would make it part of Super. So how much of Super do you think will actually be included then? Because you've been following it a lot more than Boote and I.
It's hard to tell at the moment because they've only announced the 3 characters that are going to be in it that are in Super. That's Black Goku, Frost, and this other kid. But I imagine they'll bring all of the characters over. One of the things that that you find out while you're playing the few story missions in the beta is that the movie villains are behind all of the new time distortions, because the hero of the last game obviously won that game and saved the universe. So you've got Lord Slug and
Turles.
That's it. Yeah, you have Lord Slug and Turles as 2 of the villains you encounter early on. So, and from what I've read, the movies are set in a different universe. Again, bringing it back to Super.
Yeah, the movies have always been a problem of like how do they fit into the actual canon, because they never do. I think maybe one with a Bio Brody that's possibly fits somewhere into the actual canon and storyline of the actual show. But most of it, I mean, if you think about it, it just doesn't fit. People aren't alive at the same time as they need to be. It's yeah. So it would explain it, having a completely different universe for the actual movie canon.
Well, from what I've heard, and I've had a discussion with my friend about this, is that none of the movies are canon apart from Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. But even then, I believe Akira Toriyama has actually said that, I think it was Resurrection F or Battle of Gods is basically null and voided because of Dragon Ball Super existing as a series.
Those 2 movies make up the first 2 arcs for Super. So technically they're canon, but that's only because they've been remade as the series. But what I'd read is that all of the movies take place in a different dimension, different universe. So the villains, the movie villains that are in Xenoverse 2 could very well be the Universe 7 versions of those characters. So it could all be related.
For a show that is as simple as Dragon Ball, which is basically there's a big strong guy, we need to get stronger to beat the big strong guy, it's actually ended up being quite convoluted in its storylines.
That's true.
It's just one massive power creep, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the term.
Basically, it's a case of the character overcomes the original villain, and thus a new villain comes out who's actually stronger than the previous villain, plus the current hero. Thus, the hero must get stronger than the new villain, and then a new villain. It's just basically repeating. It's almost what Naruto has, and Dragon Ball Kai most definitely has the power creep problem where Goku unlocks Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan is supposedly the most powerful form, and then you got a new villain in the form of Cell. Cell appears and then goes, haha, I'm stronger than Super Saiyan, thus Super Saiyan 2 exists.
Yeah, that's definitely...
That's Dragon Ball, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they actually coined the term power creep.
Probably.
Well, not wanting to spoil too much, but past Super Saiyan 3, in GT they had more forms, but of course those no longer exist because of Super. But Super, they have 2 levels above Super Saiyan 3.
Is that the impure God mode and impure God mode?
I've not come across those terms for them.
Blue Super Saiyan.
Oh, actually, no. There's 3. There's Super Saiyan Red, Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Rose. It's pink.
Not to sound off or anything, but is Super Saiyan Rose for female Saiyans?
No, in fact, it's not a sexist term for Super Saiyans.
It's quite a fruity term, Super Saiyan Rose.
Yeah, well, it's not Goku and Vegeta who coined the term.
Fair enough. So I mean, that might be something to look forward to in the game if they have all of those Super Saiyan transformations.
Well, saying that, I had a Saiyan character in the beta, and I unlocked Super Saiyan for her, and it didn't actually seem to increase the strength of any attacks or damage I could take, stamina or anything.
Well, in the first one, I mean, I didn't actually play a Saiyan in the first one, but isn't like Super Saiyan supposed to be like you can use as many of the Kai moves, like moves that use up Kai, as you can? I mean, without actually having like the Kai penalty, your Kai just slowly reduces.
No, I didn't notice it. Anything going down stamina and ki, just well, if I used energy blasts and such, it went down, but it didn't decrease at a faster rate than normal.
Huh. And that's the question of what does Super Saiyan actually do then?
Yeah. But when you're not in the parallel quests or in the main story, there's 5 areas that you can actually explore. Time miniatures, they're called. Basically, there's 5 areas around Conton City that you can visit via. Well, go to this place and there's a warp thing. You go through it, and there's Boo's house, Mr. Satan's house. Hercule's house. Capsule Corporation, a couple others. And depending on which race you are, you get a bonus for going there and completing tasks. For Boo, it's basically bring him food and feed him, and he'll give you stuff. And if your character is a Boo, he gives you more stuff. Namek, if you're a Namekian and you go and visit Guru and do stuff and protect his house, then if you're Namekian, he gives you more stuff. If you're not, he just gives you some stuff. So that's quite
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, that's a cool feature.
Frieza's ship. That's another one. So you can go and join Frieza's army if you're a Frieza's species. They really should have given that a name by now.
I thought Frieza was the race.
No, Frieza's his name. Yeah, they've never given them a race, which is weird. A race name, sorry, which is weird.
But then this is Japanese, so maybe.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
At one point in the sub for Dragon Ball Super, that one of the characters keeps saying, "Oh, you humans," and no, you're talking to a Saiyan. Why are you calling him human? I don't know if that's because it's a Japanese thing, or they were mistranslating mortals, or
yeah, I think that might be mistranslation.
What episode is it? I mean, I could go watch it and then create like an annotation if needed.
It happens in several episodes.
Oh, I'm not going to do that then.
No. Yeah, for Xenoverse, I didn't really play much of it myself. I just never really got around to getting it when it was full price, and when I found it cheap, I just didn't get around to actually playing it much.
Yeah, see, that's why I bought my PS4. I basically bought PS4 in game because they were doing like a really good deal. Then I went to CDX and bought Xenoverse and Final Fantasy Type Zero for like really cheap. So Xenoverse was actually one of the games I really wanted to play. That's one of the games I actually bought a PS4 for.
Nice. And from the beta and what we know so far, how would you is it a good improvement or not much of improvement?
I think they've added. I mean, as you said, you've got the various like race places that you can go get boosts up. So they've refined it. They've added a lot more. I mean, the base place, Canton or Conton, is it? Conton is much bigger than the I think it was Tiki Tiki or Taki Taki or
Toki Toki.
Toki Toki. It was a vowel. I knew that. Yeah, it's much bigger than that, so it's got a lot more stuff in it. It's got lots and lots more content, and of course, they instead of just putting more and more DLC onto the first one, they've got and just like have being like the super sagas just be DLC. They've obviously decided to just add it in as a big upgrade to the actual game, but most the fighting's the exactly same. I mean, other than they said, like as we said, Super Saiyan's a bit different, and we don't quite know what that's actually affecting. Also, the same with Kaioken, I suppose, because in the original one, the Kaioken did stamina, so you could do like stamina moves infinitely, with just your stamina just like slowly ticking down. But yeah, it's just like a bigger version, to be honest with you. It's just a refined, bigger version of the first one, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because the first one was actually very decent fighting game, very decent Dragon Ball game.
Yeah, I did enjoy it, but yeah, the fighting is exactly the same. You hold this trigger to do that move, hold both triggers to do this other move. I do like Conton City because it's bigger rather than being separated into 3 different areas. It's one big area.
Yeah.
I have noticed that the where the time tree or whatever it's called, where you go for the story missions, that is exactly the same as it was in Xenoverse.
Yeah, they've used the exact same thing, which is nice, just to have that one little bit. But yeah.
Gargontara, do you have any questions about the beta that we might be able to answer?
I'm more curious about the controls because, I mean, I'm not going to say I played for a good portion of it. I probably maybe played for a good couple hours out with my friends. I just remember the controls being kind of janky with the height system. Like, has that improved, or is that still kind of off?
I'll admit I actually did find it easier to go up and down than I did in Xenoverse 1. You hold X to go up and double press X to drop down.
So I've never found any problems with that, so can't really say if it's improved, to be honest with you.
And what about the actual comboing system? Because from what the trailer's been showing, it looks very fluid. So is it very much what's the skill ceiling really?
I found myself doing 20 hit combos pretty commonly because you'll punch, kick, hit them across, teleport behind them, more punching, kicking. You can do that a couple of times and then fire off some blasts when they smash into the floor. And you've got a 30 hit combo. Or if someone else joins in with you, then it can get a bit higher.
Yeah, they've made it to be fun and accessible to all. It's not. There's nothing for you to get confused about. It's not like some Dragon Ball Z games where you know if you take a break, you go back to it. And you're like, actually, I now need to redo the tutorials because I've forgotten how to do everything. You can pick it up and you're like, yeah, this is easy. anyone can do it, anyone can play it. It's not really made for the biggest competitors of fighting games. That they probably get bored of it quite easily. But if you're a fan of Dragon Ball and you like fighting games, or even if you're not very good at fighting games, it is very easy to just pick it up and play.
So would you say it's almost between what's it called, Smash Bros and maybe the Naruto Ultimate series, where it's basically just 2 buttons?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more involved than the Naruto series, but it is with Smash Bros. It's very easy to pick up. Yeah,
I'd agree.
So what's the actual dodging system like then? Because last thing you want is constantly be battered around.
If someone's nailing you with a combo, you can, if you hit X at the right time, you teleport behind them. But that I found that wasn't always working.
Yeah, there is a degree of timing to it, but I found it easier to do vanishing moves where if they're going to hit you, just vanish behind them. I found that easier to do in this one than I did in the first one. It does happen more often.
So what's the current player base like then for the actual beta? Is it very low or very high?
Well, as Boot said at the start, it was the servers were down for most of the weekend that it was running. It just packed, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on the Friday, I managed to get onto it for a bit on the Friday, but then the Saturday and Sunday, it was just impossible. It just died horribly, and then they don't know what they did, but they made it playable for the Monday, which they added an extra day for.
Yeah, I managed to play on the Friday pretty much as soon as it had downloaded for a couple hours, but Saturday and Sunday I couldn't get on at all. Monday I played again for another couple of hours. But while I remember, there were people who had quite high levels. I think I got to level 8 during my time with the beta, but I noticed on the player list there were people who were level 50.
Really? That's...
Yep.
Obviously, on the moments that it was available, they obviously just...
lived on it.
Yeah, binge played Dragon Ball, obviously. Yeah. But, I mean, if anyone's worried about servers, though, I mean, the reason why we couldn't play it through servers, because for some reason for the beta they decided to have it as an online mode only. But for the full release, they will have an offline mode, so you don't need to constantly be connected to the internet to play the game. It's only for the beta that was applicable.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, after you've done a few story missions, it comes up and tells you that you can be in either the online Content City or the offline Content City. And if you're in the online Content City, you can only stay there for 3 hours, and then it'll kick you off.
That's a weird. Oh, maybe that's just for beta. But yeah, that does seem like a weird decision.
No, it's for the main game. But I believe, well, it's to stop people hogging all the bandwidth, I imagine.
Yeah.
Apparently it does warn you before it happens. I don't know if the warning lets you override it and say, no, I'm still here, I still want to be online, or...
No, I mean, if it's anything like the first one, then the reasons why you would want to be online is to A, challenge other players, like one-on-one battles, or I think they have more than that now. I think they can do 6-on-6 battles or something, or 3-on-3 battles, I can't remember. Or to get an actual or 1 or 2 players helps on parallel quests. So it's not, for the main campaign, you don't need to be online. So I suppose 3 hours isn't too bad a limit.
And if it does give you the option to remain online, then that's better for everyone.
Yeah, true.
Because you might be online, do something, go get a drink, and forget to come offline.
Yeah, yeah. Or you go off and you just watch a YouTube video of how to do a certain part, and then suddenly 3 hours have gone, and You're just there sucking up their bandwidth.
Yeah.
Very rude of you.
Sounds like a Destiny experience, not knowing where something is.
I mean, for the first one, I mean, it was mainly, you know, am I doing this right to be able to get this certain piece of armor that I really want? And then just like end up just like looking through hours upon hours of videos about how to get all the different things on the game.
Well, the parallel quests, when you start them, do say it'll reward you with these items, these bits of clothing.
Yeah, so it sounds like the same sort of system, because I didn't actually play the parallel quests. I mainly played the main quests.
I don't think I actually played any of the parallel quests for the first one, but it had things such as collect all the Dragon Balls in the area, travel from section to section of a city to beat up the Ginyu Force who are on Earth. There's a number of fun things. Compete in the World Martial Arts Tournament against Tien Krillin and Yamcha.
Yeah, so they sound about the same sort of level as the first one then. But hopefully they've made getting like costumes and moves a bit easier, because in the first one you basically had the random number generator. So you could do everything correctly, and it could be a really long mission to do, but then you get nothing. And when you got like 4 pieces of armor and you have to go through a long mission every time, it can be quite soul-sucking if you've done it 80 times and you've only got gloves. So hopefully they've bettered that bit, but I would doubt it, to be honest with you, and that they probably just have to go and beat your head against the wall to get them again.
Or you can use TP medals.
Or you could buy them. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Another thing that they have done is, at the start of it, they introduce you to a statue of the hero of the last game, and you can load your last one of your players, the character that you used the last game, and then in the middle of the city you will have the statue of you, but you can also transfer across the moves, your last moveset and your costume set. So you can at least have one costume from your last playthrough.
Some moves and costumes don't transfer.
Yeah, for example, all of the Super Saiyans and all of the transformations do not transfer.
Yeah, and also if you decide, oh wait, no, in fact I want to use this character instead, then you have to wipe your current Xenoverse 2 character to do that.
Yeah, so make sure it is the one that you want to before.
Yeah. They do warn you a few times.
They do, in fairness. It's not a case of you do it and then it's like, oh yes, by the way, so they're not tricking you, so yeah.
And if you don't have a Xenoverse 1 save, then it gives you a selection of people you can choose to be the legendary hero.
So what is the point of choosing your race then? Does it have any like gameplay effects, or is it just cosmetic?
Well, it lets you get different rewards at the time miniatures. One, for instance, the humans can go to Hercule's house and be his bodyguard, and get paid extra money if they're human.
Also, the different races, they start off with different moves, and of course, Saiyans are able to have all the Super Saiyan power-ups. In the last one, I don't think the Changelings, or the Frieza race, had any power-ups or transformations, but of course, the Nameks will have the big Namek, the Super Namekian power-up to be able to grow to super size, and of course, the Saiyans will have even more transformations in the Uzaru. So yeah, I think each race has a slightly different base stat. So some Saiyans have, I think Saiyans have more Kai. I think humans have more stamina, or something like that, or maximum health. So so there's a slight difference, but it is like mainly what sort of character you want to go through with, and I think most people will probably just pick Saiyans anyway, to be honest with you.
Gender also affects, like a female human has less stamina than a male human, that sort of thing. but it'll have higher speed.
Yeah, so it is. There are small differences as well as your race. When you pick and you can customize your character like various presets, various colors. You would get a choice of, it'll say, how do you want to fight? Do you want to fight close up, far away, or balance? And that also determines some of your stats and the moves that you'll get as you start off.
Yeah, I must admit that I did my usual character customization thing of making everything I could purple, because Saints Row represent.
Is everything purple in Saints Row for you, is it?
Well, yeah, the whole colour scheme of Saints Row is purple, so all of my characters get everything purple that I can possibly colour purple.
Well, actually, my character's all yellow, so I can't really judge you on your purpleness. So there we go.
I'll admit it used to be green for Grove Street, but then I switched gangs.
So you have traited, and now you're all about the purple.
That's right.
Well, well, considering Frieza has golden mode, I guess Frieza's race would have it then? Or was that not available during the beta?
I didn't play as Frieza, so I didn't get to try it out.
Oh, and plus, I mean, you get the moves from completing parallel quests. So, and I would assume the golden one wouldn't be until you get, you've unlocked the super parallel quest. So, yeah, I think golden Vegeta will be a very long way. But if it is a power-up, then yeah, it definitely will be for the Frieza race and none of the other ones.
I believe that Frieza race will be able to go gold as a power transformation.
Now people can finally look fabulous. But what about so did you get a chance to face against the Great Apes then, or was that not part of beta?
That's one of the story missions.
How does that play? Because I've seen the trailers and it says that you can get mind controlled, and then the mind controlled will become it sounds really weird. How does it play out?
From what I understand, it didn't actually happen in the story mission, but from what I understand, while you and your mates are in a parallel quest beating up an Azuro, for instance, one of you can be kidnapped into a side dimension, and you'll have to fight someone all by yourself before you can go back and rejoin the fight against the Azuro.
How difficult is it then? Is it? Because I would think, oh, I'm facing against the big boss, and then I get transferred to this side dimension, and then it feels like a weird break in the actual game.
When you transfer to another section through a warp gate, it's fairly instantaneous. And earlier I mentioned fighting the Ginyu Force in different parts of the city. I went through a gate about a minute after someone else did, and they were already in the middle of beating up two of the Ginyu Force. However, someone was in the place where I'd just left, and they went and spoke to another one of the time troopers, because during a mission you can speak to some people and then fight them, as well as the people that you're supposed to fight to complete the mission. And although the Ginyu Force weren't difficult at all, these other time patrollers, they are. 3 of us took on these other time patrollers twice, and we failed both times.
You need to increase your skills then.
You need to get good.
Exactly.
Is that difficulty a numbers thing, or is it a AI thing?
It was very much they have higher HP and strength than I do. At one point, it did seem like no attack that I did was ever going to hit, because I'd boost over with a kick and immediately get a combo in my face. On the whole, their HP was like 2 bars each, and there were 3 of them.
Well, it sounds like a Dragon Ball experience.
Yeah, I had to increase my strength so I could take on the stronger opponent.
Exactly, and that's what Dragon Ball is all about.
Shouting Kaioken or just screaming and shouting Kamehameha?
Why not both? Right, is there anything else either of you'd like to discuss, or should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think wrapping up because I need to get some food actually.
Alright, then personally, I give it a power level of over 9,000. Either of you, based on what we've discussed?
Well, I think from what you've told me, it definitely feels like a more refined piece of Xenoverse. So hopefully there's a demo at MCM, and then I'll give it a try and see if it's actually something I would buy rather than just try at a friend's house.
Yeah, I'm buying it anyway, so yeah, I'm sold. I was already sold, to be honest with you, but yeah, no, the base is pretty much put it as, yeah, I'll just get it on the day rather than wait until it goes down in price.
Okay, fair enough. Right, thank you both for joining me. This has been GrinPressions.